The new Minecraft 1.14 update has given us some amazing new features for the Minecraft villages, as this is the Village and Pillage update after all, and with that we have seen the addition of the Swamp Villager skins. Unfortunately, there is no village that ever spawns inside of a swamp biome, which means we need to make that home ourselves. A lot of you all have asked me to create a swamp village here, so that's what we are going to be tackling today. So hopefully you guys are ready for this one. I want to be mixing things up a little bit different than what we've seen from everybody else so far. All the other channels out there, you can go see them pretty easily. If you want to see a village on stilts sitting above the water, you can easily find that. Just go look for those videos out there everywhere. I want to tackle this and do something a little bit different today. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Today for the time lapse, I wanted to start out by doing something a little bit different here. Today's time lapse is actually going to be one big continuous clip going throughout. So we're going to be seeing the camera moving around a little bit, trying to make this as much like the replay mod as we possibly can. But we don't have that because, you know, we're in snapshots after all. Anyways, this first house here that we are working on is meant to be more of an experimentation house. So I want to slow this one down, really try and nail down what we're working on here. The idea with these is basically, instead of having them up on stilts, making it look like the people use the terrain and use the rocky terrain that they might have found on this island here to build their houses on top of those, so that they didn't have to worry about any flooding. I thought that'd be kind of a cool way to mix things up. I thought it'd be really fun to be able to mess with that, bring in a lot more stone into the swamp, because I feel like swamps don't really have a whole lot of color variation. They're just kind of green, especially now with that greenish colored water, or brown green colored water. Also, the dark oak leaves we have in our texture pack turn out to be really dark here, which, you know, crazy. Dark oak leaves are dark, so I really wanted to bring those guys in to mess around with this a lot more, see what we could come up with here. And this whole area is supposed to be looking very natural. This house right here is just kind of a default house, but I want to turn it into like our farmer's house, for example, bringing in a lot of wheat around the corner there, making it look like he has an area to grow some things up in the surrounding area. And just overall, this is a place for somebody to live here. We have a lot of details in, adding in a few chimney bits and all that type of stuff, some vines growing around, which will eventually grow around all over the place once we're done with this entire build. And now, moving on into one of the new structures that we have in Minecraft 1.14, we have the Stonecutter. So I wanted to make a bit of a Stonecutter Shack here, seeing as everything is built up on stone stilts now, and using a lot of our cobblestone and stone blocks all over the place to really make these things look like they're up a little bit higher off the ground, not really in that wet, marshy swampland bits. Still bringing in those village colors of like the Plains village, using a lot of the oak and resources that we find in this general area. And alongside the Stonecutter, one thing that I thought was a really cool detail that I just want to point out here was throwing in a little bit of gravel in the surrounding area, because it's cutting stone after all, and gravel is basically just small stones. So, you know, if that stuff was all over the place, that kind of makes sense, because there's rubble and debris and things of them using the station. So if you guys are working on building a Stonecutter, try and maybe throw some gravel around it, make it look more natural and all that cool stuff in there. And one thing I really wanted to try with this one was taking a lot of these chimney designs here and making them very windy and not very just like a standard straight chimney. I want to have them very bendy, looking like they might have like sunken into the marsh a little bit and curved up a little bit as they're going throughout. But there's our first two houses. Thought those ones were very cool. And then over here, I figured next we could come up and build our church. In Minecraft villages, we have a lot of different types of buildings and things all over the place, and I wanted to try and throw in as many of those as we possibly could throughout here, trying to keep it as close to the generic Minecraft shape as we possibly could. So the Minecraft churches that they have built in by default, they have that one like kind of large central room when you first walk in the doorway. And then and there's a tower coming up out of the top of that one, and then it goes back into that skinny corridor of where you see like a brewing stand or something, whatever they have in there in 1.14 now. So I wanted to bring that in here so we could have something a little similar to that, but instead of having a tower at the top, I want to have a place where we could hang a bell from, because we have the new bell mechanic and we have those things that we can include in all over the place. So I thought, you know, what the heck, why not just throw one on the church itself, because, you know, churches kind of have bells and things. It did come out to be a little interesting here in the middle. I don't really know how much I like this one. I think overall we did a pretty good job with trying to do it as much justice as we possibly could. Bring in some of our polished andesite bits throughout here to make this area look a little bit more reinforced, and we're going to come in here and just add crazy like wetness and vines and moss stone, everything over here, even getting a little bit of rain in this area just to make everything feel so much more like a swamp. So we're really going to mess up the church here. Basically, we just want to start with building in pure cobblestone, then coming back in and making this feel very mossy and wet and everything like I was just talking about. With that, we have a lot of extra details throughout this area. There's so many different things. I love throwing in all these bushes and the flowers, using the different blue flowers that you can kind of find in a swamp area. Then off to the side, I did want to throw in a small pond over there, bringing in some sugar cane because just more life. I basically want this area to feel really damp and really wet, and if anything, it just makes me wish there's some sort of like a fly or a gnat or little swarms of bugs that could fly around in Minecraft, which I thought would be so cool. Here we're going to be building up a forge area, making sure this stuff looks very cool, using a little bit of a trick right there of hiding some redstone torches underneath, then placing some iron trapdoors, and it makes it look like you have like a casting chamber right there where you can throw some areas out. And then bringing some campfires into the top of this because, you know, why not? We need to have those pillars of smoke coming out of this stuff because it's 1.14 after all, and there's a train going by, so sorry about that. But yeah, so we wanted to make this really look for Minecraft 1.14 and really try and use a lot of the blocks that we have available to us. I did notice a large frame drop though as soon as we brought those campfire things in there, so kind of worried about those. Hopefully they do get fixed. If you guys are playing in the snapshots and seeing issues with those, let me know. I'm kind of curious to hear if anybody's figured out ways to work with that. Anyways, back to what we're working on this one is trying to bring in like the smithing table, the grindstone, and the anvil itself, trying to make sure that they look like they belong in this area here. I did want to make it look like this house is really sunken down a little bit more, so this one doesn't have any stone supporting it, so it's more down into the terrain itself. So we have that little bit of a hill in the center here, which is basically going right into the side of the house. And this house isn't lifted up above everything because they have that heavy chimney right there of the smithing area, of the forge and all that stuff. So it's kind of sinking down this area. Then what I want to do over here is bring up another one of our stone-based rock things to have much more of a contrast to anything else that we had before. So up here is where I figured we would have like a fishing hut or like a fishing station. Maybe the guy up here, the fisherman, can look down over the water and get a better view of everything he's looking at. So bring in a lot of variety into the rock itself, bring in some cobblestone and just using different slabs and stairs and moss stone and all that good stuff to make it look more natural and more wet and all that stuff. And we have that little pond area down there, which I thought would be great to have a boat sitting in. And this is basically going to be just a tiny little shack. And I know the fishermen villagers, they need to have some sort of like barrels, I believe it is, that turn them into a fisherman. I'm not really sure on all the mechanics of this stuff in 1.14. I'm just here having some fun building, but I thought that'd be kind of cool to add in the barrels up there because I feel like that's what spawns with the fisherman houses. And then, of course, you got to throw a little boat in there, and I'm really hoping eventually one of our villagers that we add in at the end will just fall in the boat and be stuck there forever because, you know, that'd be kind of funny, so why not? Overall, I wanted to spruce this area up down there, add a little bit more detail into everything, throwing in some more of those sugar canes again, lily pads, just trying to make this area feel so much more like a swamp. We have a lot of different things in here. We got a chicken running around. We got so much different stuff going on. But the idea behind this place is to make sure everything feels very natural, very wet, very marsh-like, but also trying to make sure that the villagers feel like they were able to structure something in here, structure something so that they can belong a little bit more and live here without the worry of their houses and everything sinking into the swamp like we've seen with a few other places in real life. Anyways, this one here is going to be like our smoking, I think that it's the smoker. So I would consider this like the kitchen or maybe like the chef or something like that inside of the village. So this is where they maybe are getting all their food prepared and everything because it's pretty communal. And I figured outside the back of this one, we could add in a little bit of an extra detail here in just a second of adding in a small sheep pen. So we have an area where maybe they have some animals that they're breeding and living off of. That's like their source of protein, their source of meat and all that stuff. And maybe that's how they make all their beds to have more housing for villagers. So we need sheep, obviously, because I don't know where they get their beds. They never have sheep lying around. Now that we have the whole outskirts of the village built up, I want to bring in a central point. A lot of the Minecraft 1.14 villages have some sort of like a tree structure as one of their options to spawn with in the center here. So I figured we could bring in a version of like our willow tree or something like that, or a different willow tree in here to add that center meeting point for all the villagers and everything. I didn't add a bell to this one because I kept the bell on top of the church, so maybe the church would be that center meeting point as well for all of that stuff. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this one. I thought it was really cool adding those things in here, and I don't know if any of you guys saw that off of the left side right there. We had a wandering trader spawn. This is the first one I've ever seen naturally, and I did not realize he was there until way later. But that was so cool seeing the wandering trader in here. I am so excited for Minecraft 1.14. What are you guys most pumped for in the new update? What's your favorite thing that you're looking forward to using in the game? Or what's your least favorite thing? Let me know. I'm really curious to hear what you guys got to say about this. But look at that guy. He's so cool. Look at all the stuff. And I do got to say, though, we are in a swamp biome. and he had a jungle sapling and a dark oak sapling and an acacia sapling for sale. So, you know, that like is the perfect thing into the game. So you can get those resources. You could just spend a few emeralds on him in this village we're living in, trade for a few things, and bam, instantly you got jungle saplings. You don't have to go traveling everywhere. Anyways, I thought that was so cool. Thank you guys so much. Let's jump back into the world. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have our Minecraft 1.14 Swamp Village. I am very happy with how this one turned out. I think we could have made it a little bit more grimy potentially, bringing in some more vines, bringing in some more just general like gross swampy goodness all over the place to mix this area up a little bit more. I love adding in the little water pockets throughout the area, bringing in a bunch of these bushes, and just doing this area just so cool. I really like this one, basically bringing in our forge right here next to all these vines of the tree, so it's just so wet that the vines aren't lighting on fire because this forge is going like crazy throughout the entire day. But I just love all this stuff. My favorite part probably was being able to use these little these little wooden stone rocks. There we go, that's the word for it. No, but the stone outcroppings that we brought some of the buildings up on here, I thought that was a really unique way to kind of protect them against the water if things flooded and had all that stuff going on. I thought that was a great idea that we could use moving forwards for some sort of a swamp build or something, making they look like they're all up on the rocks, up on these rocks, up above the swamp, so they're out of the actual swampy areas on their own little dry plateaus almost. So I thought that was a really cool idea. Hope you guys enjoyed today's build. It was really fun. Bringing the villagers in here at the end makes this area feel so much more lifelike. You guys will have to let me know what you guys are planning to do when Minecraft 1.14 gets here. Are you planning to remake a village, live in a new village, or maybe you're just going to ignore villages altogether when that update gets here because all you guys have probably heard about them is for the last few months. It's just everything village. So let me know what you guys are thinking for Minecraft 1.14. Do you guys want to be seeing a jungle village remake next, or makeover, or whatever we could do with it? Let me know that down in the comments below. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Please hit that like button if you are enjoying what you are seeing here, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And me and our Mr. Wandering Trader over here will catch you guys on the flip side.